Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Rainbows here bringing you yet another StarCraft 2 game with me talking over it. And in this game we have Mean Jeans as Blue Protoss at the 7 o'clock position-ish on Blistering Sands against Webby, Red Terran at the 2 o'clock. And it does look like we've got a little bit of early game banter going on. This is a bit of an interesting map. You've got the destructible rocks over here, if I can find them, giving a backdoor up into the other person's main, but you do have a very, very, very defensible expansion. This choke right here is extremely hard to bust in through if there's any kind of defense on it. So it makes the map a little bit more interesting than something like Lost Temple, for example, where your expansion is a little bit easier to attack, but the other player can't exactly bust in through the rocks, and the rocks do create a very nice dynamic, just because you kind of have to scout them, and then when you see the other player attacking, you have to respond. So, a very interesting map, very much more like the, I don't know if how many of you guys played StarCraft 1, but later on, not initially, but as the game progressed, map makers started adding more and more destructible terrain and more of these backdoors into various places. And this is more evocative of those than the maps that shipped with the game. And it does look like Webby has his gas up before any barracks, and that barracks is actually coming up pretty late. So he's not going to be able to get out the fastest things in the world, but it looks like he's only got one guy in the gas still. Just that first guy who was building it, and he's going to pull this guy off. I'm not really sure exactly what he needed that 20 gas for, but I do hope it does it well. And he's putting his supply depots in mildly interesting locations instead of trying to wall with them, but that appears to be okay, as Mean Jeans is not going for the earliest zealot in the world. His gateway is just finishing right now, and he is cranking out the first one, gonna get a core up right before that pylon. And he does not have gas either, he's adding it on, so he will be able to get a stalker up in time to deal with any Reaper harass. Looks like Webby does have the requisite number of SCVs mining on gas now. He's not cranking out a Marine yet. He's taking his time about that, and he's adding on a second gas. We're probably going to see some sort of a mech build, some sort of a factory coming out for him as soon as he gets enough gas to do so. And he is coming out with his first Marine. Mean Jeans' first zealot, in the meantime, is out, and I am a little bit worried for Webby right now, as this zealot is just going to be able to chew through small numbers of Marines like they are little bits of candy, just because the Marine isn't going to be protected by anything. There's going to be no wall, no bunker, not even Marauders to slow, but it does look like Mean Jeans is not capitalizing on this lack of a bunker or lack of a wall, and he is going to delay attacking a little bit. And Webby's factory is coming down. It's coming down a little bit late. He's had plenty of money for it for quite some time, but it is finally getting down, so he's going to be able to build tanks or whatever. Mean Jeans, in the meantime, appears to be working on the warp gate upgrade, which will maximize the efficiency of his gateways. Warp gates actually just produce units faster, in addition to being able to produce units pretty much anywhere on the map, as long as you put a little bit of prep time in. If you just have a warp prism with your army, you can reinforce off of that, or you can just carry out a probe and drop a pylon down occasionally. It does look like Webby is coming out with his first couple Reapers. He's going to have a Reaper up right now, but Mean Jeans' Stalker is going to be completed before that Reaper gets in, and that Stalker is going to be able to take down that Reaper before it does too much damage. Webby actually, I'm actually going to hit the magical hotkey. Yeah, Webby has done zero scouting at this point in the game, so Webby has no idea what his opponent is doing. It looks like he's actually going to sit in his base with these Reapers, and he moves out with it now as I say something. He's going for a fairly quick expansion. It does not look like he's going to be able to hold this against any sort of aggression right here, though. If Mean Jeans simply attacked with that first zealot, he would definitely be able to take out the Marine. He probably would have a little bit of trouble with that Reaper, but he does have Stalkers coming up, so he's got one sitting around right there. So assuming he just moved in with everything, he'd probably be able to completely crush Webby right now. Webby, though, is adding on a couple of factories, and he's adding actually reactors onto both of them. He's going to go for a mass Hellion build of some sort. which is kind of cool. And once he starts getting his Hellions up, once he starts producing out of this factory, he's going to be in a much, much better position to try to handle anything that Blue Jeans sends his way. And we do see that he is utilizing the reactor and making 2 Hellions at once out of this factory right here. Mean Jeans, in the meantime, is playing relatively standardly. He's got a robotics facility up, and he's actually not going to go for an immortal first. He's going to go for an observer first, so he knows exactly what his opponent's doing rather than trying to play a little bit more offensively. And he is warping in quite a few stalkers just to try to get an army up. He's actually floating a fairly large amount of minerals. Webby is doing a decent job of keeping his minerals low just because he's got both of these factories with the reactors on them. So he's cranking out 4 Hellions at once from these 2 factories, and he's also cranking out Reapers in the meantime. Not really sure how effective these Reapers are going to be against Immortals and Stalkers, but the Hellions are certainly going to be really nice, and the Reapers are certainly going to be really nice against Mean Jeans Zealots. So we'll see how that works out. Mean Jeans is adding a 3rd gateway, smart move by him, because he is floating a little bit of minerals. So that 3rd gateway is definitely going to enable him to soak it up, and he does have an Immortal out finally, so he is going to be able to deal with any Marauders that he sees in a push. And it looks like Webby's coming in with all of these Hellions and all of these Reapers, and I'm actually going to check right now. He hasn't had a tech lab on a factory, so the Hellion damage upgrade hasn't been researched, obviously, because there's no possible way for him to do that. Looks like Webby's just going to move in with these, and he still hasn't seen his opponent. He seems to be going for some sort of harass. And here he goes. Reaper's up the back. Stalker right there. Stalker's going to take out those Reapers just fine. There are enough Reapers, though. That Stalker is going to get taken down. 1 Reaper does go down along with the Stalker, and it looks like these Reapers are just going to go straight for the pylon, and another Stalker from Mean Jeans is coming up, so Webby is forced off. Mean Jeans, in the meantime, does have an observer in Webby space, so he does have a very, very good idea of what's going on. These Hellions are coming up the front now. It does look like Mean Jeans has plenty of units, and those Hellions are actually just going to run straight by Mean Jeans' army. These Hellions are getting a bunch of probe kills. Just going to pop on over to unit floss. It looks like they've gotten 12, 15 probe kills. Well, 1 Stalker. So, 14 probe kills already. That's ridiculous. That's a huge, huge, huge blow to Mean Jeans' economy. And these Hellions are just going to dart off, and they're going to dart straight into an Immortal. This Immortal is going to not do bonus damage to them because they're mechanical and not armored. Thank God for those Hellions. And it looks like they're going to get 1 probe a little bit down, and that probe does go down. That probe is not able to survive, and the Hellions are finally taken out, but not before killing 16 of Mean Jeans' probes. Mean Jeans is still floating a little bit of money, though, and he's got a massive, massive army compared to Webby. Webby's in potentially a very nice economic position. If he were to get a couple of orbital commands and resume pumping SCVs, he could have just a ridiculous economy compared to his opponent, but it does not appear that he is doing so, which is okay. It's just suboptimal, but okay. I mean, I'm really liking this harass. That was an amazing move. The ability to completely shut down his opponent's economy, and he's on 2 bases. He's not on the most effective 2 bases. Mean Jeans actually does have an observer in Webby's base, as we have known for some time. So he just sees that all that Webby has are these Hellions. Let's actually look at his cam for a little bit now. He knows exactly what's going on up here. He knows exactly what's going on down here. So I'm really just surprised that he's not moving in with everything. He could easily wipe out these small numbers of Hellions, and Webby is adding on Marauders, and the more Marauders he gets, the harder it is going to be for Stalkers to deal with it. He's actually adding on an engineering bay as well, probably for turrets or planetary fortresses, or maybe even just Marauder upgrades. And it looks like he actually has Vehicle 1 being upgraded right now, and he's coming in for some more harass with these Hellions. These Hellions probably aren't going to do that much damage, though, because Mean Jeans does have a bunch of Stalkers in the front, and those Stalkers are actually going to engage the Hellions. It looks like we're just going for a straight engagement. The Zealot does get up on those Hellions, but that Zealot is going to lose all of his shield quickly, and the Hellions are going to be able to knock her back. Webby's just going to chill out with these low health Hellions right now. He's not rushing them back to base to repair, and it does appear that he's going to take the Zelnaga watchtower and watch for any sort of a Protoss advance.